Legend of Ochi. This is a new A24 movie that unfortunately has not been doing great. It's despite this movie being kind of one of their movies that on the surface has more wide appeal. Now I disagree with the assessment that it does after watching the movie, but it definitely feels like a movie that still should be doing a little bit better. But honestly, they have thrown so many fucking movies at people lately. I literally, we were showing Thunderbolts at work this weekend, and there were people going, didn't even realize Thunderbolts was coming out. I've been trying to see Sinners, and there are people still watching The Accountant 2, and, some people weren't able to catch Revenge of the Sith because that was only 1 week. Like, all these things, and I kind of agree. I was like, fuck, man, they really did not do a great job at spacing these movies out in the month of April, which really sucks. So this movie kind of, even for me, like, the only showtime I could go to was not a very desirable showtime, so I just said, fuck it, I'm going to wait a week, and it's probably getting pulled this week, so, which sucks. Also, this is a movie that is very visually impressive, and a movie that would have been nice to see in IMAX, but I'm sure IMAX screens are like, fuck, we ain't got the space for that shit, because we got so much shit coming out right now between Thunderbolts and other stuff. But yeah, I'm glad I was finally able to see it. Essentially, this movie is a fantasy film about this girl trying to return this creature. I was really surprised how weird this movie was, though, and very into its own folklore, and that threw me through a loop a couple times and really turned me off of it. But then by the end of it, kind of came around to being something really unique and something I really enjoyed. I don't think it fully worked for me. That's why I say this movie feels like something that would be more, like, feels more mainstream than A24's usual output, but really didn't turn out that way. Because this movie is very much like a How to Train Your Dragon story, where you got a character who injures another animal and then becomes a friendship, and they go on a quest and do a thing. And it's got that kind of like E.T., Iron Giant, or How to Train Your Dragon feel to it. But, I guess instead of those stories, it's a girl. But, they've kind of done that with Bumblebee. So, but my point is, it was a lot more into the folklore aspect of it. And then it had a very weird sense of humor that didn't work. Like, why is this girl so weird that she's wearing, like, vampire fangs in a store? And then the guy overreacts to get a gun? And I'm like, what the fuck? This is, like, so over the top and weird and just kind of came out of nowhere. I really didn't like that sequence. William Dafoe's character was kind of a dick the whole movie. And I'm not saying William Dafoe didn't do a good job acting. He always does. But his character, when you learn about the shit that he did in the movie and some of the explanations into why he did it, it was kind of like fucked up and cruel and hate-filled. And I didn't really feel like they did enough to resolve that and redeem that character by the end of the movie. And I just didn't care for, like, a lot of this stuff because of that. I didn't think it was a horrible movie. Visual effects were great, and I enjoyed kind of, once the movie started to get going with this girl and this weird monkey-looking creature and their friendship and how it worked. I thought it was a very well-directed movie as well. And but I also felt like certain characters, like Finn Wolfhard's character, were just kind of wasted, not really even sure why they were here. But, I don't know. I liked the movie. Very unique, very strange. But it still left me a little perplexed by the end. So I recommend watching it, but it is, just understand it may not be what you expect. Also, what's funny is this is a PG movie, but there's a lot of families going to this, but I don't think this is a PG movie. This is a PG-13. Because, there's some violence in it, and certain sequences are a little intense. Just know that if you're taking your kids, because I have some families that have been taking kids to it, and I've just been going, I don't know if this would fully work for kids or if you get much out of it. Very different, very weird movie. Still good. Just definitely not what I'm expecting. This is a movie I probably am going to have to rewatch with somebody. And we're going to have to sit and talk about it for a minute to kind of maybe grasp what this movie is. Or what it was all going for. And that is a sign of a good movie in a way, where you're wanting to understand it a little bit more, and it doesn't feel like a chore to do that. Not like, oh, well, I have to see it more than once now, but watching it more than once sounds painful. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, like, share, and subscribe.